what does integrated, indivisible, and interlinked mean? So how you define this word? What do you understand by this nature, integrated, indivisible, and interlinked? So what do you understand when you see, yeah, so partnership of different stakeholders, yeah. So this is one of the crucial aspect, but we are talking about SDG itself. So when we say that SDGs are integrated, indivisible, and interlinked, what does that mean? For example, to unpack this question, yeah, they are inseparable from each other. Can we meet the 2030 agenda by only solving, or let's say by only limiting the global warming below 2 degree or 1.5 degree? If we limit the global warming below 1.5 degree or within 1.5 degree, yeah, and doesn't address any other issue, does that mean that we will be meeting the 2030 agenda? Yes or no? So basically, what does integrated, individual, and interlinked means is that when we are looking at SDGs, these are, we have to look at SDGs as a system of this interconnected components. Now, it's not about just a collection of goals, indicator, and targets. Yeah, so they are interlinked in a way that we can meet SDG as a whole. Yeah, if we fail to meet one SDG, yeah, or one target, that means we have failed to meet the whole 2030 agenda. Yeah, and there might be negative consequences of not meeting those targets. Yeah. Yeah, and then in domino effect, even more interesting thing would be like there might be a small block that might trigger the fall down of the bigger one. Yeah. So this also quite interesting thing. When Wayne was mentioning achieving one target has an impact on other targets. Yes. So these are the thing when we talk about this integrated, individual, and interlinkage mean. Yeah. Or the SDG interactions mean. Yeah, and we already saw this score as well. So in terms of literature, we see that the SDG interactions can be measured in different way. Yeah, so this is one of the framework which propose, let's say, the 7 scale approach from +3 to -3 to define how different SDGs or how different SDG targets are interlinked with each other. Yeah? +3 means like they are really indivisible, yeah, and -3 means like they are really canceling. Yeah, so I will come back to this positive and negative interaction in a while. Yeah, but here the main point is that we can also classify the nature of interactions at different level. Yeah, and which could be like a very highly positive or very highly negative. Yeah? And then this can be given in terms of this 7 scale approach. Yeah? This is one of the proposal made by International Science Council, yeah, in 2017, yeah. So, and which is also highly used in literature. So if you are doing some SDG interaction analysis in a qualitative sense, you may also use such a scale. So here is one of the example of SDG interactions where we talk about synergy. Synergy means that progress made on one goal can have progress on other goal. Yeah. For example, what we are seeing here is that that is bubble here is a country. Yeah. So is dot is a country, and in x-axis you see open defecation. Yeah, so open defecation is not having proper sanitation facilities or toilets, and in y-axis you see under 5 mortality rates. And what we see here is that the countries that has high share of open defecation, yeah, where there is no proper toilets, proper sanitation facilities, what we see that the under 5 mortality rate is also higher. So when there is no proper sanitation facility due to infections and yeah, so this is also not good for kids. And in these countries there is a high share of under 5 mortality rates. In other words, what we can see or what we can say here is that if we want to address the issue of under 5 mortality rate, addressing the issue of open defecation would be crucial. For example, if you start building proper sanitation facilities, yeah, which is target 6.2, we know we are not only achieving target 6.2, but we are also helping to make progress on SDG target 3.2. So this is a synergistic relation. So we see such synergistic relation among different SDGs targets. Yeah? So second thing would be SDG trade-off. So here, what we see is that the similar information is bubble is a country, yeah, and we see that in y-axis material consumption. So how much material a country consume, its material footprint, yeah, and then in y in x-axis is poverty head count. So what we see is the country which has a lot of poor people, their material footprint is less. However, the countries where we have less poverty, their material footprint is relatively higher. In other words, under the current development trend, if we start reducing poverty, we also start consuming materials more and more, and our material footprint increases. Yeah? So to achieve target SDG 1 or target 1.1, we need to reduce or we need to eliminate poverty. But why eliminating poverty? If we do that as a business as usual, we may increase material footprint. And for achieving target 12.2, we need to have a responsible level of material consumption. So we see a trade-off here that we can't decrease the poverty, or decreasing the poverty will increase the material consumption. And for achieving the SDGs, we have to limit the material consumption. At the meantime, we also need to limit the poverty hit. So what does that mean here is, in this case, because of this trade-off, we should think about the business as usual, or whatever, what continuing the thing we are doing may not make sense. Yeah, because if we meet one target, we will be hampering the other target. So we have to do the things differently. We have to reduce the poverty, but we have to also make sure that the material consumption would be on a responsible level. Yeah, for example, we can think about using bio-waste materials. We can think about using circular economy, recycling, and upcycling, recycling, reusing materials. So business as usual would not be an option. So we see a similar SDG interaction, similar synergies and trade-off across different SDGs. So now there's a question for you. So give an example of synergies and trade-off for your favorite SDGs. Yeah. So we start with SDG 1. Yeah. So those who mentioned that SDG 1 is your favorite SDG, can you give an example of synergy and trade-off related to your SDG 1? How no poverty is related to synergy or has a synergistic relation to other SDGs. Yeah. And may also have a trade-off to other SDGs. There is one example from my side. Yeah? So let's look at SDG 2. Yeah, so it's SDG 2 is zero hunger. Yeah, and we can achieve food security through intensive agriculture. Yeah, so what we can do is we can use very industrialized, high-tech system to produce more and more food. Now we can use a lot of fertilizer, a lot of water, a lot of pesticides, yeah, and produce more food, yeah. And by doing that, we may able to address the issue of food security. But if we do that, when we use a lot of fertilizer, a lot of pesticides, yeah, it will definitely have and also a lot of water for irrigation. It will have negative impact on water, land, and biodiversity. Yeah? So, and also it will also lead to climate change because of irrigation, and also if we focus more on food security that is based on animal source protein or animal source food. Yeah? However, if we choose to address the issue of hunger and undernourishment by using sustainable land and water use practices. For example, we can go for agroecological techniques. Yeah, we can use more and more organic or mixed fertilizer approach. Yeah, and also we can think about reducing food loss, reducing food waste. Yeah, and then also to consume more healthy diet. That means to consume more fruits and vegetables, less animal source product. Yeah, it will not only ensure the food security, but it will also have a positive effect on on water quality, restoring land, conserving biodiversity, and also sequestrating soil carbon. So here we can see that like for same SDGs, we may have different. We can achieve this one SDGs in a way that there is a synergistic effect on other SDGs, or there might be a negative effect on other SDGs. So here is a bit more example. Yeah, for example, nitrogen is one of the essential fertilizer that is needed to produce crop. Yeah, mainly because we are producing much more than we can harvest in a normal system. And what we can see is that if you apply too little fertilizer, if there is no fertilizer, then what happens is that uh, farmers will not get enough yield, yeah, or enough production. Yeah, so that means it will have negative impact on their lives and livelihoods. Yeah? So the issue of poverty would not be resolved. There is a negative impact there. Yeah, and this also lead to zero hunger issue. Yeah, and then like when there is no enough food, that's also have negative impact of health and well-being. And it also has negative impact on SDG 8, because low production means not much economic growth there. Yeah, and depending upon the cases, yeah, or location, when farmer has low productivity, they go and encroach more and more land, so there might be more deforestation. Yeah, and then that means they would have a negative impact on life and life. However, if you put too much fertilizer, yeah, too much chemical fertilizer, what does that mean is if you put a lot of nitrogen in our soil, uh, this excess nitrogen will go to our water bodies. Yeah, and if we drink that water, it will have negative impact in our health. Yeah, and also this clean water and sanitation issue will be problematic. Yeah, so it also require a lot of energy to produce fertilizer. Yeah, so that means it has negative impact on SG7. And this water supply can also come to cities. Yeah, so it has negative impact on cities. Producing fertilizer or emission coming from nitrous oxide emission due to this fertilizer also has negative impact on climate. Yeah, eutrophication effect, life below water, and there is also issue on life in land there. Yeah, so if you think about, let's say, optimum or too much, too little or too much nitrogen has negative impact across various SDGs. However, if we use optimum amount of fertilizer, like mixing organic and inorganic fertilizer in the right amount, yeah, then it will have positive impact across all those SDGs, yeah, because of having a nice or a good harvest for the farmers, yeah, and also less problem with eutrophication and so. However, that's not the only the case. There are certain SDGs which also enables create the enabling condition to make this change happen, or to enabling condition in a way that farmers can learn and apply optimum amount of nitrogen. Yeah, for example, here education is a key issue, gender equality is a key issue. Yeah, and few other SDGs could be a key issue to enable this change.